And we're here. Great. Filtering clip textures, because those are annoying. Okay, so turn my heat down just a tad. And hey, Ossian. So, what's it? I think last time we were paying attention to. Well, I know we were looking at some of the stuff back here. And a little stuff in this office. Oh, by the way, I don't think I gave that monster clip. Which is, of course, going to be lined up for some reason with the grid instead of actually just snapping to the dimensions of the thing it's supposed to surround. But then again, I don't know how it would determine the angle. The axis aligned bounding box is, I believe, the technical term for that. So, I know we played through here a bit. We did some adjustments here. Yeah, so I think I want to commit to this because this is the largest area that I think we still have to renovate, quote unquote. And then once we get, this area feeling a little better, I think that we'll be ready to seriously go through a couple of plays, just kind of tweak what seems to need tweaking, and then after that, hopefully, we will finally be in a position to write up a playtest, survey, and then actually get it out to people. So hopefully within, I don't know, the next month or so. Maybe, depending. Hey, hero. Oh shit, actually, you know what? Oh, jeez. No, something just occurred to me. Boy. Well, I can get into the details of it on the stream today, I think. Let's see. Get random people for it. Yeah, so I was gonna post it on lastlife.net, because way back in the beginning of this, Last Life was still kind of new and still had hope, I get. That's a bit harsh, but yeah, I had wanted to do this for a while, and then I think doing it through the Last Life forums was an interesting way to get activity there. Now I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, so now I do think that the actual distribution of this map is something that's up in the air, or like how we're gonna do it. So yeah, I don't know. Do I like post on Twitter or some shit? I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So yeah, so what am I thinking in regards to this space? I like the change of elevation here. I like the silhouette of this facade of the building, sort of blocking off this street area. I don't really like that this is a building with a large presence, basically, and then we have zero, or like way too little space in front of this prominent entrance. For, you know, the theoretical people who live here and go into this building all the time to sort of mingle about in. So I think, like I said, I want to move this perhaps over here and rotate it like 45 so it's facing this way, or about 45, you know. And then because of that, you know, this space is going to get recontextualized because of that, and then I think we'll just kind of play off of the result of that. I want to keep this here and basically keep it separate from this, but I don't know exactly how to like re-justify it, you know? I think I'm gonna have to get rid of this for now. And then, what's it? Monster clip still there. This is gonna be messy, isn't it? This is 45. Maybe you could try posting on multiple forums instead of just one. Kept posting about his game on a Facebook group. And that ended up being the game's primary playtesters. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I'm also going to put this up on the Dark Mod forums as well. God, it's been a while since I've checked in on that. Right, so more towards brass tacks, I guess. I think that so I've been trying to coordinate all the moving parts that I need to get done for my move to Colorado. And by the way, I said that I had last week that I had gotten a game design job, or level design specifically, job offer from a studio, but I didn't say which one last week. Now, like, since then on Twitter, I've confirmed it's with Deck 9 Games. They did Life is Strange Before the Storm, and I am going to be working with them on future titles. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. More nerve-wracking is coordinating how the hell I'm going to get out there from Boston. And I'm surprised. Quite a few things are actually pretty simple, and they've moved into place pretty easily. But the one thing I'm stressing out about now is actually finding housing out there. There was an apartment in a complex that I thought looked pretty good, and it was pretty inexpensive. And then I told my father about it, and he's one of those guys who looks up businesses on Yelp, you know, because I guess that's just kind of what he does. And basically he said, you should look at the Yelp reviews for this apartment building. I was like, why, what's up? And then I saw like a dozen reviews on there that were all like 1 star, it has bed bugs. It's like, oh yeah. So I have had to try and coordinate finding housing elsewhere, and a lot of the major places, a lot of the major like apartment complexes in that area are not terribly well regarded. And it's like so stressful. You know, it seems so weird that you know, it seems so like beyond people's abilities to like competently run, you know, an apartment complex. I think. So I did find a building that seems pretty good, and it's not much higher than my prior price range. But I called them up, and they're just like, yeah, we have one that's opening up or we have a room that's opening up in mid-March. And I'm supposed to start my job in later this month, in about 2 weeks, actually. So, so I need to, I don't know, I think I want to go for that one. Because it does seem nice, but that also basically means that for 3 weeks I need to figure out a way of, or somewhere to stay, until then. So the difficulty is now, and it just occurred to me, starting up the stream, that, oh God, that means, I won't be in my own place for, foreseeably most of a month. So that means I will likely not be in a place for about a month where I can continue the stream. Yeah. So I don't know if there's a way I could do stuff in the interim. I don't know if yeah. Future coworker. Yeah, I have actually. I was told someone was going to get in touch with me about that, and then they haven't yet. And I would like to hear back from them before I confirm with this apartment building. Yeah. So that's my big stressor of the week. Yeah. I mean, everything else is I think slid into place just fine. I thought getting someone to replace me here was going to be a pain in the ass, but I think we literally toured 2 people in our apartment, and my roommates were just like, I like this guy. So I think that's going to be coming along just fine. Yeah, I got to get a car out there. One of my roommates suggested there's actually a car delivery service that can move stuff to you, which is pretty interesting. So hopefully that won't be too much of an issue when I get out there. The other issue is that I will be arriving to the Denver area on a Sunday. That'll be Sunday the 23rd, which A, means I'm not going to be streaming then. And B, car dealerships they're not open on Sundays. So I was kind of worried about that. But again, my roommate informed me about like a place you can order cars from online and they will deliver to you on like a Sunday, which is kind of weird, but I'm thankful that something like that exists. Oh, you know what I like? I am imagining. Okay, well, this isn't great, but right now I am imagining, I think, some sort of continuation of this building that is actually parallel to here, but we kind of have a base here that extends to the ground, and then a sort of second floor bridge, and we have a not a walkway, the exact opposite. We have some sort of entry underneath. So part of the building forms sort of a bridge, and then, we can use this to like frame this building in a particular way. I think that'd be good. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think the person who I was told would get in contact with me about crashing at their place for a bit was also the guy who brought up my channel during the interview. So maybe they will be more understanding because of that, and maybe we can actually have him play through the level live on stream, as I really wanted to get a couple of people to do. Yeah. Here's hoping. Okay. All right. So okay. Yeah, I don't know if I've said this on stream, but the apartment I was in before this one, one of the guys got bed bugs, and it was just the worst. They never got into my room, and I never, got any bites or anything from them. But even then, it was just the worst. People talk about, some of the mental effects that it has on you. And there's like all these little feelings or touches that you kind of have all over your body. That's usually just like, your clothes moving against you, or you brushing up against your sheets, or in my case it's like feeling your body hair sort of untangle itself at points, and you usually ignore all of that, but as soon as someone has bed bugs in your apartment, you just hyper analyze and you freak out about like every one of those, because you're just like, wait, does that mean that there's something on me? I feel like there's something on me. And so there was a point where I woke up, I think at 2 a.m. At that last apartment during that time, and I flipped out, and I turned on the light, and I checked my mattress, and I checked under the sheets and all that, because I was so concerned and scared that they had gotten into my room, and of course they didn't. Apparently they don't travel very far. It's like 3 or 5 feet from the mattress or something like that. But even then, Okay. Kind of like this. Me too. And I think if I just copy this and move it over, it'll be a perfect fit. Oh, wow, really? Yeah. No, and having, lived with those guys, they were also people who were not cleaning up after themselves, which is probably part of why the bed bugs were an issue. But, part of that was also, they were just not terribly responsible, which meant that, they were, they had not properly put themselves on the lease, and I had when I moved into this apartment. And then I, because of that, who does a landlord go after but me? And I'm not the guy who's creating the fucking mess there. And so, I had people basically yelling at me for, the other people in my apartment not cleaning up after themselves, and then that directly fucked with me, in the form of them getting bed bugs. And I remember when I moved to this apartment after, a very hellish day of trying to get a U-Haul, I remember how much less stressed I was at work. Like, the living situation that you're in just has an enormous effect on, your mental health and your mental well-being. And it wasn't really until I moved out of there that I really noticed that. I was like, oh my God, I don't feel awful every day. Monster clip on the stairs, because stairs don't need to affect the visibility or the geo. So you can convert those into funk static, it's called, where they're basically just like detail brushes. But because of that, because of a particular quirk with IDTech 4, AI cannot path on funk statics. And so because of that, you need to actually place these manual areas in the form of monster clip in order to help partially generate the pseudo nav mesh thing that this engine has going on. So that's basically what I'm doing, because otherwise they would not be able to path properly on stairs. It's pretty interesting. And similarly, monster clip is used to help generate that nav mesh, or the area awareness system is the proper term for this engine, but I think it seems like it operates basically the same way. But if you put that around obstacles, it'll help the AI understand that they can't walk here, they can't walk through here, they have to go around it. Yeah. Oh, definitely. All right. So yeah, I was really nervous about having to confront that apartment building about all these reviews, and also to say like, hey, by the way, I applied and I know there's a holding fee for the apartment that I paid, which was about $150. And I was so nervous about being like, yeah, I'm gonna need that back. But they called me last night, and I made a, I gave a white lie basically. I was just like, I found some other place that's closer to work and is a bit cheaper, so could you, I don't want to continue with this apartment, could I get that back? And they were just like, oh yeah, sure. So whether or not they follow through on that is yet to be seen, but at the very least I did. It is known, I guess. So that's good. I think I got the hard part out of the way. Two twos in a bucket. Sorry, I listened to that Danny Brown song right before streaming. Oh, really? Oh dear. Whoop. Nice. Okay, that could have gone better. Phew. Okay. That's good. Said I won't be getting any design responsibilities for about a year into the job. Oh, Jesus. Well, good luck tomorrow. Excuse me. Okay, this looks pretty good. This feels better, I think. At least in terms of space in front of the building. The way that it's just kind of, well, literally stuck into here because, you know, I placed it that way, is weirder. I would think that there'd be, pardon, I would think that there'd be some spaces going off to the side. And yeah, I would think that, I don't know, there'd be some space over here compared to this side. But I really don't know how to do that without just like punching a hole through this, or literally just like getting rid of this and like redoing like an entire chunk here, and I want to avoid doing that. I'll advocate the design responsibilities, but let's see how it goes. Nice. I mean, I guess it depends on what your design responsibilities would be. Like, if you need to like place a bunch of things in a level and then set up like prefabs or blueprints in the terminology of Unreal, then, you know, that's completely translatable from Unity, I think, or mostly. Things are a little finickier when you're setting up prefabs and blueprints, but yeah, otherwise, like navigating through, you know, a viewport, it's exactly the same thing. Having an understanding of what components are available to you, like, yeah, they're it's pretty much one-to-one between engines. If you're expected to do scripting, though, that is certainly a whole different beast. All right, so I think I could maybe make an angle here to basically have this building flare out at a 45-degree angle here, and then turn this into a sort of dead-end alleyway. I mean, not literally a dead end, but like we would block it off from the player being able to go further, and then maybe make a little diorama past there to imply further space. Oh, I see. And I mean, I don't know your situation, but I mean, I was coming from a QA background, or at least, in terms of like where I had actually gotten employed. But I would definitely jump at the chance to have a coding job in games. Again, that's just me. I don't know if you have been coding and you're tired of coding, Blueprint for description. Raycast is line trace. Yeah. So because this is sort of a bridge connecting this building, I think I want this to be a little more firm and secure looking. So I kind of want this to flange out a bit. Oh, no. Forgot to not multi-select. Oh boy. And then with this I can just get rid of that, which is good. Getting rid of a lot of unneeded geo. Perfect, have both. Oh, I see. Yeah. Are we planning on building there at the side? Yeah, again, I kind of want something that comes out at a 45-degree angle, like here. And so this can make like a bit of an alley. Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. I think I've been there. Three twos in a bucket. Beautiful. There we are. Oh, there. And this is on the smallest. Wait. This is going to be messy to clean up. Actually, no, that looks fine. No, I completely understand. Something I've been thinking about a lot recently, especially, actually, I don't know where I'm going with that. Actually, let me use the restroom real quick, and I will expound on my thoughts when I come back. Okay, sure. I'll wait for you, buddy. Heyo. Yeah. Um. How to say this in a way where I won't get. Um, um. I think that fuck, I don't know where to start. I think I'll rip the Band-Aid off. It has been very interesting, especially recently, to read people who are kind of paying attention to other side and starting to notice like what's been going on internally there for quite some time. For the past few months. I mean, different textures in the air itself. Yes. I don't remember when you said that, but I do agree. That would be very helpful. So yeah, people have been paying attention or starting to notice what's been going on with the other side. And there's been a lot of talk about, the way Underworld Ascendant played in that. Stone. We'll get some marble texture in there, right? flat? No. Sculpted? So, marble, great. Wow. Neoclassical echo. Ooh, look at that. Marble black stripes. What in the world? So yeah, people have started noticing what's going on there, and there's a lot of talk about how UA was sort of a precursor to what's going on. And there's a lot of talk about, especially from the angrier people online, who, I think they are right to feel the way they do. But they kind of carry that into these sorts of bizarre understandings. But I think that generally most people in the gaming audience have these weird understandings of how game development works. And so one of the big things that I've been noticing especially is a couple of things. First off, they think that the people who are responsible for a bad game are people who should not be working in the industry anymore. And the tricky thing with that is that there are certainly cases where if a person has a bad track record of doing stuff, then yes, maybe they should make a transition into another field. But if you have one bad game shipped under your belt, that's not necessarily it kind of assumes that when you ship a bad game, everyone on the team 100% is at fault, and blame can be unilaterally be distributed. And that's a real weird simplification of it. One of the interesting things that I learned, talking with friends who, I went to college with and who went off into places that, are pretty prominent. Something that I thought was interesting to learn is that, as long as you can show that you are good at design, and as long as you can demonstrate that through, your portfolio, and you can demonstrate that through, design interviews, then you're really not going to have a problem getting a job. Provided you get enough eyeballs on your material. And your track record really doesn't have a lot to do with that. At least in terms of entire games and their perceived Metacritic, which I think is pretty interesting. And I think something else on that is that, there were some, comments regarding this and regarding, the aftermath of UA, about like things along the lines of like, they're not like actually fans of the genre or something like that, and or like the people working on UA were not fans of the genre sufficiently or something, and that's like why it turned out the way it did, or like there's people who are coasting while making the game. They don't actually care about the genre or something, and I really disagree. Oh yeah, they do. Oh, believe you me. I think the broader thing that I'm trying to get at is that there's this belief that, you, and this is a harder thing to untangle because it shows itself in very subtle and small ways, and I haven't necessarily kept track of all of them. But I think that from a gaming audience's perspective, you should want to be working on, when you work on a game, that's something that should appeal to you as a player. And, if you're, a real game dev who cares about their job, you should be able to, if you're like into like Warcraft or something like that, then you should be able to land a job at Blizzard or working on some sort of RTS. And I think, similarly in my case, there's this perception that, well, Jared likes immersive sims, he should work on immersive sims. And now that, I worked on one that didn't go well, I should be searching for a job for immersive sims, to work on immersive sims. And the thing is, like, yeah, I would absolutely love to, work at like Arcane or somewhere, but you have to also consider like where other than Arcane can I go to make an immersive sim. And, pickings are slim, for that particular genre. If I had really devoted myself to years of like working on like Call of Duty levels, I was, just as invested in making COD levels as I was, making like Thief levels, or Dark Mod levels rather, like this. I would probably have a much easier time getting a job. And so, when I applied to, Deck 9, I'd played a fair number of Telltale games and point and clicks, and I was just like, okay, well, let's try this. It's not necessarily an abandonment of wanting to work on immersive sims or something like that, But I think at the end of the day, something that's not communicated from the developer's perspective to the general audience's perspective is that even in the game industry, a job's a job. So when you're talking about Hero, when you're talking about oh, nice, thank you. Now I have to figure out what the hell I'm going to put back here. When you're talking about like looking out for yourself and trying to get enough money, but also like trying to square that with finding a position that's fulfilling, I completely get it, and that's sort of something that I'm interested in saying. I think also, similarly, I don't know how to untangle it, but I think, again, I feel like there's a broader point of like, we conflate our work as designers or our work as game developers too much with our fandom of certain games or certain series or certain genres, instead of just focusing on performing a job, you know? And that is something that, again, I'm not totally prepared to give a grand thesis on. But especially in terms of like a lot of design interviews where I think I've brought this up on the stream before, but basically where they ask you like, so have you played our games? Are you familiar with this stuff? And yeah, I think I brought up the God of War example. But I maintain like you don't need to have a particular affinity for a series. You don't need to necessarily have played a ton of hours in a game, provided you have a general sense of what the game's going for, and you prove yourself to be a competent designer. In my opinion. you know. Yeah. I'm going to plug this up as well. Oh, you mean on like a game that doesn't do well? Yeah. I mean, I guess that's part of it. That was not necessarily what happened with Underworld. And that's all I'll say. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I noticed that the press seems to be picking up on things, so I want to be particularly careful at this point in time about what I say. So I think I'm going to refrain from going on about this in particular, at least for now. In the abstract. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks. these people, immersive sim gang, generally had problems with finances. Yeah, I mean, there's a running joke online about, immersive sims killing studios. I was thinking about this today. I'm not the kind of person who kind of buys into that sort of assessment, largely because it is it's sort of thinking that doesn't really want to dig down into the causes as to why. And I think, like, because most people did not work at Looking Glass or Ion Storm or Other Side for that matter, because of a lack of ability to access information, people can't really do anything but basically say, like, oh, well, this is just a genre that, inherently kills studios, because, you can't investigate otherwise, really. I just think it's how to put it. I think it's just interesting, maybe, that you can kind of get these cultural myths started. And they kind of go unexamined for quite some time. A fence would be a good blocker for this. Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that. I think because, I don't want to go too wild with, like, geo here. I think maybe if we extended this out and then we had a little stairway down here, so that way the player could, like, wrap around, or, like, the pathing for anything could, like, wrap around here, and then maybe have a little alley off this way and block that off with a fence. Yeah, let's go for it. Oh, thanks, Alex. How you doing? Back entrance. I mean, yeah, but if we're gonna have, like, a raised walkway here, anyways, I do think it makes sense to have a... I think we're agreeing in different ways, so I'm not gonna keep contesting this. So what's this? It's like 1, 2, and then plus 2 little ones. So it's 1, 2. Yeah. You had almost switched with the base game of Dicey Dungeons. Oh yeah, you've been talking a lot about that, I know. think you also mentioned mod tools are coming out for that soon, which is pretty nice. Then we'll get a building back here. Yeah, buddy. Just stretch it out that way. That's not what I want. And then sort of staircase back here. And so that's 112, if I'm reading that correctly. So half of that would be 56. So 112 plus 56 is 168. Right? Yep, looks about right. And boom. Tools are already out. Nice. Do I design on paper before going into the editor? Yes, absolutely. I'm not sure if I have. Wow, I'm not sure if I scanned my actual paper maps. Let me look this up because I got my graph paper here. Oh, yes. Yes, I do. Oh, right. I think my paper map scans were on this computer while I was at other side. Then I had to leave this computer with them so that they could wipe it. And then I, bought it from them after. So yeah, I think I used to have the scans on here. But I don't think I have that as in my documentation currently. I'm not going to pull that up right now. Or not going to search through Google Drive right now. But yes. And most people I know do that. I think I want this out a little bit and then maybe have a bit of a... Yeah, like that. Maybe one more. Because I know in fancier buildings I've seen this sort of like little bit jutting out that's flat and then it goes into the staircase. Alright, I think I want to actually make this stairs, right? Four. You think? Long how? Like too tall? Because there's not really a way around that. Unless I actually raised this up. Like I had another like incline or short piece of elevation the way I do here. Taking up half the alleyway. Yeah, I think you're right. Is that what I'm looking at? Okay. So they run parallel. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe. Like if I wrap it around here. Yeah. Fuck it, let's do that. Nope. It's still pretty wide, but it's compared to the alleyway. Well, thank you. All right, how's this? 3 tears in a bucket. Oh, hey, nice. Congrats. On both getting the alpha and getting the job. Make that monster clip. Then this is also func static, right? So revert to world spawn. Make that monster clip as well. Yep, and kind of bump that in a little. There we are. Actually, I think I'll move this just a tad so it's not lining up with the pillar here. There we go. So we're actually maximizing the width here that AI can walk on. Hey, what'd I tell you? A job's a job. Populating the world with various elements that make it feel alive. No, absolutely. You can see all this and just look at it and be like, I'm looking at this and I'm just like, this is going to be a nightmare to make look believable, you know? I'll figure it out somehow. I have no choice but to. Or, you know, I could redo the layout. But I'm not going to do that at this point. Yeah. Nah, I've referenced it, I think, a couple of times here, but there used to be a site that was even before my time. It's called Old Man Murray, and they had, I think in the 2000s, they had a joke article about reviewing games solely based on how fast it took them to go from the start of the game to finding a crate somewhere. And so they were reviewing games based on their start to crate, or STC number. And basically the idea was just that the longer it took you to find a crate, the more inherently creative the game was. I'm so sorry. It's pretty low STC, man. good call. Absolutely. There was also a I think Davey Reedon was keeping a blog with Galactic Cafe around the time that he was making the full version of the Stanley Parable, and he had all these design articles that were very clearly jokes. And one of his joke articles was about it like he basically wrote a fake fan letter to himself, basically saying like, you know, I'm an aspiring designer and I need to know the appropriate number of forklifts to put in all of my maps. How do you determine this? And so he just wrote an article on forklift placement. It was really good. Oh dear. Yeah, that's good enough. And I'll just in case, I'll put a clip texture here. And then yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too elaborate with this. So I'll just kind of make this an S-bend. Hero, what exactly do you mean by have a 90-degree turn? Because that's kind of what I'm doing here. Unless I'm misinterpreting. Oh, okay. Good, good. And I don't think I can see the far surface there, so that's good. There is a giant yellow bar on this streaming thing now. It's probably going to tell me. Viewers will experience buffering. Jeez, I'm sorry. Doesn't tell me how to do anything about that. Nope. Sorry, guys. All right. Okay. Now I think I have to question this and its relationship to this area. So it's like if we're, I don't know. Because I'm thinking like, say if someone was out here during the day in this customs house or courthouse or whatever it's going to be, and they wanted to go over here because there's something that way that they want to get to. You know, they would have to walk all the way down and around here and go up this thing. In order to start going along this path. So, you know, I don't know if that is I guess I'm finding less and less of a reason for this to exist. I think if there was some form of housing along here and we had this sort of feature that kind of maybe stuck out a bit from the corner here, and then there was a sort of entryway that cut below this thing sticking out here, that would provide an alternate path down to here, and maybe that would feel better. But I don't know. Also, I have to wonder if the... No, not really. That's good. I was wondering if the light around this area was going to be... oh, it kind of is. I was wondering if the light was going to be visible from this angle when the player first gets their init read of this whole area. Because I really don't want the light to be seen from this angle on this building, because I feel it's going to distract from the real draw, which is going to be that. You know? And if I cut into this for a back entry, basically, or for like another entry down into this space, that's only going to chisel away, excuse me, at more stuff there. Which means that, you know, it's only going to become more prominent. So... I think maybe if we pushed all of this right here just back a little bit, and then maybe a tad over. We'll do. See you, Cherry. Pardon me. But I want to push all this back because this is kind of blocking the way I want it to, and I feel like this street width is the appropriate width. But I repeat myself. This might be the one trick I have, but I feel like further segmenting this area into, by, you know, having smaller divisions of height more strewn throughout this area might help. At least it'll help like subdivide and make, you know, this open area feel distinct from, you know, this back alley. A little more, help create interest. Actually, oh, this would be interesting. Okay, so what if I, instead of having this little piddly staircase up to this height and having the alleyway wrap around it, what if we actually just made this as wide as the alleyway and we raised up this surface? Or, you know, make it most of the width of the alleyway and have it centered as a centerpiece or something. Six there. And this is going to be 8. Like this, basically. Clone this. Move this down here. Move this down here. Yeah, like this. What do we think? I'll probably simplify this, but oh, I will of course need to move this up. No. Well, thanks. Oh, and these can be funk statics. Nice, nice, nice. There we are. Oh, and then I feel like this has a little more reason to exist, because this would kind of be quote-unquote ground level for here. You know? Or at least closer to it. Oh, right, and then because I want to actually get this blocked off, probably want to actually make this a viz portal. Yep, okay, we're good. Oi. I'm just seriously stumped about what to do here. Maybe if we shrink this down by pushing this side in a bit so that, you know, this only really extends to this particular column, and then we kind of shuffle this up as well. That might give us a little more room to play around in. Well, thank you. Yeah, let's try this. One more, yeah. Nope. This. Then, oh right, we'll move this over here. Oh right, and there's some weird piece that I need to move over here as well. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. That's the thing I'm trying to solve right now, really. It's like, we want the player to get to this building, basically. Or at least have the option to. But I've spent so much time over in this area. Yeah, because it's like, you know, this thing doesn't really support or like point the player towards like going in this direction, you know? God, I think I fucked myself on this. Yeah, but I would rather... I'd rather all elements of the level. Whoa. What? Oh, I think it auto-saved and I hit escape. I would rather all the geo, or all the elements, including the geo and the lighting, like all point the player towards the same thing. Having it all be unified. Because, like, here's the thing. Supposing that we get some solution to the player coming out over here or something. And let's say the player's, like, somewhere over here, and they know they want to get to here. And we have this space back here. Exactly why would the player take a path along this area, back over here, and then down through there? Like, why would they do that? And I don't know. I think the best thing we could say, perhaps, or the best way we could encourage that, is to have some heavy guard presence like here and here. You know? Nice one. Pardon. Okay, so well, let's try this. I'm going to try to do this. Let's move this down. Okay, so something like that. Something like this. Actually, I should stretch this down more to accommodate for the walls. Something like that over here. I'm getting less and less confident in this. But I just want to try it out. Okay, so from the side here. So I think if I lower that one more. Okay. No. I think you're right. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Just undo everything. Jesus Christ. No. No, I don't think so. I mean, like, what would be an example? I think this. No, I got rid of that one. Shit. Something I've noticed in Boston a lot is this sort of pattern where you have, like, on the corner you kind of have this almost tower or a minaret like thing that kind of sticks out from the silhouette of the building, like that. But then underneath that you have like a walkway or an entry or something. And so I think I wanted to push that further in that I wanted it to actually be a sort of tunnel. But again, I think you're right. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Shit. Because the thing is that I don't want to just like clip this corner and again like leave a ton of this exposed. I want some sort of structure here that the player needs to move around. Jeez. I need to use the restroom again, actually. Let me come back. Anywho. Any good game dev Discord channels? Not really. I mean, I'm not terribly active on Discord for game dev stuff. I'm just usually there to goof off and socialize. Yeah, I can't say I do. Maybe if I also push this back this way to give this a little more space. I think I have an idea of what I want to do here. Don't like the lack of attention. Yeah, no, I get you. Oh yeah, by the way, the thing you posted in Heavy Eyed's server, I looked at the UI there. Were you using Pro Builder? Try looking around in Reddit. Yeah, okay. Alright, I think we've got potential here. Gonna scale this to something that's about there. Something that's about here. Yeah. First off. Second. There's nothing back there, huh? Something like here and here will be good. So I think it's the same general shape as I was trying to do prior, but this time it is actually going to be the size of a building. And this looks pretty narrow right now, but what I want to do yes. Pro Builder. Yeah, because I remember playing around with that. Oh, Pro Grids is a different thing? I didn't know that. I'm not familiar with it. So what I'm going to do here basically is I'm going to flange this out, because I've definitely, especially in Boston, seen some trapezoidal looking ass buildings. Yeah, in a screenshot that Hero had shared in a Discord server I'm in, they had shared a screenshot of project in Unity, and I saw some editor UI that was there. And I'm pretty sure it was like Pro Builder, so that's why I asked. The Blizzard thing? Actually, I don't need that. Pull this down. I am still not confident in this. I would like to be confident someday. Well, let's hope so. Ah, there we go. This is, I don't know. I've had this problem before of just writing stuff down on paper or drawing things on paper, making my diagrams, and then translating it basically one-to-one in the editor, and then making very few changes to the layout itself. And me doing this right now, I think, is way more playing around and just figuring out how things are going to flow than I've ever really done on any level before. So yeah, this is kind of new territory for me as well. How wide is this thing? 192, right? And this is like 250. Yeah, 256. I don't know if this is wide enough. Yeah. Seeing how things pan out. Yeah. Well, I don't think necessarily that my old method was good. Justin Pappas, who I'm still working with on Albino Lullaby, he is definitely a guy who has been encouraging me to do more of that, like playing around, sort of like getting a sense of how things feel. When we do paper maps, it's usually pretty minimal and broad, and he kind of just wants the broad strokes of a building or the broad strokes of a area. And then we kind of figure out the details from there as we go down. And I took basically the opposite approach for quite a few of my projects, my solo projects at least. Yeah, I think I want to narrow this down even more. Are these going to be too close to each other, though? Oh, no, I see. That's where I messed up. No, I think this will be fine. Time consuming compared to paper drafts. I mean, sure, iterating on paper certainly is way faster. Oh my. Here we go. that was 64 units wider here now. That feels better. This feels a little roomier now, which is good. Certainly, I think I can cut an elevated walkway into this space to make it feel a little better. Nope. Stop. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, this is good. Because at least this way, this is going to block off a lot of this facade, or a lot of this area immediately from, you know, the angle over here. Filter from here. This is going to be good. Or better. Raise that 32, I think. That should be fine. I wish there were a faster way to turn filters on and off. Where's my selection? Right over there. Can you run this level at this point? I usually get a better feel for a level from the actual game camera. Definitely. Yeah, we did a little of that at the end last time, even though I fucked it up. So I think a couple things. First off, I want a sort of overhang area here. To sort of further make this feel sheltered or isolated. And then I think instead of wanting this here, I want to just have a staircase that goes down from here to here. Yeah, might as well. This is 4. What did I just do? Yeah, so something like this. And assign gravel. Actually, before I do that, I'll tuck these in. Few units. Yeah. 12 is probably fine. Now I'll make that a func static. Yeah, okay, that's good. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, so now that you mention it, you're right. Oh, jeez. Wow. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Rosso. cobblestones, right? Oh, no, the Rosa was just talking about me getting a new job. Um, yeah, so here's what I'm thinking. I want sort of. I'm super psyched for that one brush. Yeah. So I think here's my thinking here. I kind of want this to be like a side alley thing. Um, but I don't want it to be as restrictive as an alley necessarily. I want it to kind of open up a little bit for interesting stealth options here. So I have, this landing here, and I want to, have some steps right about here going down to this elevation. Then we go around the corner, have some steps going down to this elevation. But I think at the same time, I want a bit of a side walkway up here that, we'll have some stairs go up from this point up to the side walkway here, and that way the player can either like get up high here and get the jump on a guard, or maybe use that to just circumvent them entirely. No, Rosa was just talking about me getting a job as a level designer at Deck 9. Not sure if you were there in the beginning of the stream where I talked about that. That had some verticality to it. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe also have a bit of, like, maybe another walkway up here kind of in the building, like cutting into the building's surface. Yeah, I don't know. Something like that. Actually, no, just make the whole thing cobblestone. Muscoficius. Oh, thanks. What do I want? Gravel. Right. Yeah. Nah, I don't want something, Oh yeah, I started reading The Design of Everyday Things, and I haven't even brought it up yet. Oh yeah, I think in relation to that, there was I don't know if people saw, but there's this thing that got put out on itch.io recently, like this past week, called the Haunted PS1 Jam, and I think it's a really good design exercise if you look at a lot of that stuff. And there's always like one or two design things that are not great, or at least with most of the cases that I've played so far. I mean, I of course applaud the creators for actually putting stuff out there and getting stuff done. But yeah, there's usually just like one or two things that are either like a bug or some issue with the communication of the systems, or like a lack of feedback in regards to something that like genuinely makes me confused when playing that stuff, or when playing any of those submissions. And in relation to that, I thought it was interesting because, again, I started to read The Design of Everyday Things. And the way that that book centers this idea of gleaning information from the world, quote unquote, and that information contradicting a user's intent, I think is really interesting. And so there is one game in I haven't quite finished it, but it's pretty interesting so far. I think I'm waiting for it to create a more coherent or start building a bigger framework for all of the ideas that it's going to start putting out. But it's cool so far. So yeah, in one of the submissions for Honda PS1 Jam, there's this one called Ode to the Moon, if I'm recalling correctly. And there's a sequence where you get on a train, basically, and you're just kind of waiting around for something to happen. And through Ode to a Moon, it's presented in a way where it's like, as if it's like videotapes that are being played, but like the image is like what you're playing through as the game in a first-person perspective, which is interesting. And so there's intermittent glitches of like VHS tearing and things like that on your quote-unquote camera. And so when you're going into the train, if you walked towards one end of the train, the issue or the tearing and visual issues like start playing. But the thing is that what I didn't know is that you had to walk all the way to the subway, or not the subway, the train door at the end of the car. in order to be able to progress and hit this trigger to like go to the next car, but it's really not apparent that that happens or that's supposed to happen. I mean, yeah, probably he uses both terms in the book. And so it kind of resulted in this case where I kept getting stuck in this visual sequence of, VHS tearing and stuff like that. But I was like stumbling around the train car, being like, okay, when does this end? And as it turns out, the answer was just I had to walk further, like a little further. And I like restarted that thing like twice because I swore I hit like a blocker or something like that, like a legit game breaking bug, not game breaking, but something that halted progress. I mean, the rest of it was actually a really cool mood piece. It was just that one issue with it that I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. So. Yeah, an elevated walkway like that. Because of that, I think I want to push this back here. Maybe this a bit so that we can widen this. Because this is how wide? Under 12 units. All right. Have this. Have an elevated sort of landing here. And then we'll just block this off for now. I'll do a little set dressing about like a false entry there in a bit, I think. Similarly, there was this shooter in the haunted PS1 thing called Effigy, which very much seems to be doing a Quake tribute, or some sort of like, I think it was very heavily influenced by Dusk. And there's a lot of jank in it, but I actually played through the whole thing, and it actually has some very good level design instincts. Like, I don't know, if anyone's paying attention to the haunted PS1 Space Jam and is in a position to hire a level designer, they should like definitely like hit that guy up, because the way they had the environment like wrapping around in on itself, and the way that he actually has the player facing, or they have the player facing something that like they just activated with a switch. I don't know, it's really good stuff. Yeah, so something like this. There we go. Okay. Indeed. And yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, obviously, one of the biggest reasons why I've not been more consistent with my videos has been the whole job search thing. So I'm looking forward to getting back up in the saddle with that. Oh, and there's one game involved in the PS1 Jam thing that I had actually played prior, and that is Filth Breed, this little game. And it is a very minimal but very effective, like, first-person Silent Hill clone kind of thing. It's really great. So I haven't played like most of the things in that compilation, but I'm looking forward to playing more. Shoot on Unity or UE4. Yeah, and that's sort of the interesting thing. There are some games that manage to nail it, I think, through actually using low poly aesthetics and restricting their texture resolutions. Whereas there are other games where you can very clearly see that it's just a normal Unity game with a low res filter over it. Yeah. How's this looking so far? I think I want something like this cut into this building surface. Is this making sense? Texture warping. Oh, they have some of that in there too. There was, I don't remember which one in particular it was, but one submission on there definitely had intentional texture warping, and I was so amazed how they managed to do it. How tall is this? It's 96, right? let's do that. Yeah, okay. Well, I think that we should at least check this space out before logging off for today. Ah, great. I guess I'm not surprised. It was bound to happen. What in the world? Okay, well, I'd have to go under the ship to do that. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh my god. You see this? This is what it leaked through. Oh my lord. Alright, where were we? Oh, fuck off. Really? Point file. And again. Oh boy. Well, going off grid is risky. So. Oh, nice. Yes. Yeah, I've been kind of too chicken to ask him, but I want to get Dylan, who is the primary guy on that, to come on the stream at some point. I'm mostly scared because he's going to critique all of this, I know. Jesus. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, well, it's not there again. Oh. Come on. Yeah, he said that he basically devised his own, well, maybe not his own, but they paid special attention to getting some sort of custom sound propagation going through the use of basically room volumes and portals. So they had their own like portalization thing happening. He also mentioned prior that they were using actually the nav mesh for a little bit to do that. But they found the nav mesh to be insufficient. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ugh. I'm doing so poorly. Yeah. God damn it. Oh, it's... yeah. Okay. Let this be the last of it, please. Come on. Okay, this looks good. Yeah, man. Alright. Alright, there we go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think he mentioned that nav mesh, using the nav mesh for sound propagation really didn't work for verticality. Alright, so I've got no target on, so I'm cheating. The AI won't see me. So first off, let's look at the read here. This is pretty good, because we see this, the building B over there, that sort of customs house area, the facade is blocked, so that's good. I actually like the placement of that lamp because it's stretching far enough to see that we've got like that far corner there. It's pretty good. The far corner of the alley here. And the alley itself is pretty dark, which I like. I think we need a light around there for the stairs to indicate that something's going on there. So I think for a esplanade, if you will, this thing is appropriately wide. We'll get like a little handrail thing here, or a stone handrail or something. You know, this feels good. This feels like enough of a landing here. Then we just kind of still have this blank canvas. Yeah, maybe if we actually had like a huge like statue here or something, or like some sort of monument in the center here to actually just break it up and have like circulation around the space. That might be good. Engine locked? Yeah, probably. Yeah, because that's Unreal 1, right? Alright, so in here, how does this feel? And for the record, when I'm making a lot of these areas now with like funky angles and whatnot, I do think I have like a lot of the Gloomwood screenshots in the back of my mind. Yeah, this feels okay. down to here. Okay. Okay, good. The alley, I think, here is the appropriate width that I want. Kind of feels it. Feels pretty alright. I like this contrast in height here. It's pretty good. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, and let's check out this area as well. Yeah, like maybe, I don't know, a fountain here that's raised in the center. Just something to fill in the space. My god. My god. Oh. This little raised area doesn't really have a reason to exist anymore. Yeah, this feels okay. And how about this? This could probably be tighter, actually. Yeah. I think my feeling about like lowering this ceiling a bit so that it actually lines up with the raised floor over here would be good. And actually maybe like, you know, bringing this wall out to about this line on the texture would feel pretty alright. Maybe not quite that much, but like halfway. It feels it. And then I think I want to stick a light here. Well, maybe not in this alcove. Because I feel like that would make it too hard, but somewhere near. This feels good. This is pretty good. Okay. Alright. Well, for struggling to, get an understanding or struggling to figure out what to do for quite a bit of today's session, I feel like we actually made pretty good progress. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Get 3 brown brick. Really weird. Scale as you go to different parts of the map. Oh, well, thank you. Maybe I can make a good level at some point, theoretically. All right. So like I said earlier in the stream, I should be able to stream next week. The week after that is going to be the day I'll be arriving in Colorado. And that'll be the day before my first day on the job at Deck 9. And then from there, I actually don't know what's going to happen for the next month or so in terms of being able to stream. Yeah, I gotta figure that out. So yeah, next week we'll at least have one more stream, and then after that, the next month is kind of up in the air. But yeah, here's hoping I'll come back mid-March, late March, and we'll, you know, continue where we were, or where we will leave off next week. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I can always be better. I think we could all be better, but me especially. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.